Hello and welcome back to another video by Davies Media Design. My name is Michael Davies, and in today's tutorial I'll be going over what's new in GIMP 2.10.28. Before I get into that, don't forget to check out my website at daviesmediadesign.com. As always, I have free software tutorials on here. You can check out my latest clips, and I have free software help articles, so definitely check that out. You can enroll in my GIMP 2.10 Masterclass from beginner to pro photo editing on Udemy. And you can get more by becoming a DMD Premium member, and I'll include a link to this as well as all the relevant links from this tutorial in the description of the video. So GIMP contributors released GIMP 2.10.28 a week or so ago with some new features. Mostly they're going to be bug fixes for Windows, and they are pretty small bug fixes too, so they're not really going to be things that a lot of us are going to notice. But the first new feature found in GIMP 2.10.8 is that they've added memory usage to the dashboard feature. So I can access this feature by going to Windows, Dockable Dialogues, and I'll come down here to the bottom where it says Dashboard. So GIMP has had the dashboard for several versions now. However, they've added a little memory option here at the bottom so you can see how much memory is being used on your computer while you're inside of GIMP. So this is just another way to measure GIMP's performance, which can help you out if your computer's slowing down or if GIMP's slowing down. And it also tells you how much is available versus how much is used. So you can see here that I'm using about 11% of my allotted memory. So GIMP will use up to 8.2 gigabytes from my computer's memory. So that's about 52% of my overall memory on my computer. And then it's also telling me the size of my current file in terms of memory. So I did work on this session here for a while, which is why the size of this is pretty large. So let's close this out by coming over here to this little drop down, and we'll go to Close Tab. The next new features I'll cover for GIMP 2.10.28 are some very minor UI fixes. So GIMP is sort of making an effort, a concerted effort, to reduce GIMP's clutter in the UI, try to make it look more modern since a lot of people are complaining about the UI right now. So a couple of small things they've done to address this. For one, there's no longer a drop shadow on the boxes here where you have your show hide icons as well as the little transform link or transform lock icons. So before, when you hovered over these, you would see a little drop shadow or box shadow. They've gone ahead and gotten rid of that. I guess they felt it wasn't necessary and it was just cluttering the workspace. The other UI feature they've added is to the GTK radio buttons, and I did have to reach out directly to one of GIMP's contributors to see where this feature was implemented because I couldn't find it anywhere. But basically they've added a white box around some of the radio button features for GTK. GTK is the GIMP toolkit, so that's kind of what makes GIMP's user interface look the way it does. So I was told this feature was implemented here in the Create a New Layer feature. So when you click that, you'll see here it says color tag. So it's a very minor fix. You'll see when I hover over these little radio buttons, we're now going to get this little white outline. So that's just going to help you better select one of these options here. I will say before it was kind of annoying because you couldn't see which one you were about to select. There really wasn't an indication or some kind of mouse hover animation or something. So now we've got this little white box. So that is a cool feature, although this should really be a footnote at this point in a major release of software. But yeah, that's just GIMP making an attempt to improve its user interface. So I'm just going to exit out of here. Another user interface fix that the GIMP team implemented with this new version is that they've sort of fixed some what they call problematic colors with some of their themes. So for example, if I come over here and go to Edit, Preferences, and right here under Interface, just click this drop down and come over here to Theme. I've got some custom themes right here, which I showed you how to create in a tutorial. That was my how to increase your UI font size tutorial, which I will link to this video. But right now I'm on the dark theme. If I come over here to the gray theme, so when I click on that over here in the layers panel, what used to happen was when you went with the gray theme and the default option for the icon theme, which I'll get into in a second, this little highlight here that showed you what layer you were on would basically be the same color as the show hide icon here, so this wouldn't display. So what they've done is just fixed it so that now the show hide icon does display here. So as I change layers, you'll see it's still there. One problem with this though is that if I come over here to the light theme, in fixing one problem, they created a new problem. So You can see here that the icons are now totally hidden when the layer is not selected when you're in the light theme. This is when you're on the default icon theme for the light theme. So if I come over here back to icon theme, I can change the icon theme to something like symbolic high contrast. And when I do that, you can see now we can see this again. So that just seems to be like a minor mistake that happened there. And you can also come over here to something like symbolic inverted. So that's actually way better. I prefer that, and I think they should probably make that the default, but that's just my opinion. Let's come back to symbolic high contrast and come over here to the icon theme and go to gray. So another issue here is that the problem still persists when you're in the gray theme and you have that, whatever that last, I think it was symbolic, yeah, high contrast. So when you have symbolic high contrast for the gray theme, you're going to get the same problem here. So they haven't totally fixed this problem. And by the way, if you don't see the new UI improvement, you do have to come over here and click reset. And it's going to ask if you want to reset to the default values. I'll hit reset again. So that will reset this back to the dark theme. The weird thing about this, which is kind of a bug, is that it's going to keep gray as the selected theme. So what you'll have to do is click off of the gray theme, back onto the dark theme, and back onto the gray theme. And you should now see the new UI fix. So let me just come back to the dark theme, and I'll click OK. And here's another bug I'll probably have to report, but I'll just click OK. And by the way, if your guys' icons are really small like mine are right now, just go to Edit, Preferences, come back to the icon theme, and you're going to change this to Custom Icon Size. And we're going to scroll this up. I like to go with the huge option and click OK. All right, there we go. The next new feature implemented in GIMP 2.10.28 is that they took a performance improvement that was implemented in Mac versions only, and they now feel confident enough in that performance improvement to push it upstream, which basically means they have introduced that improvement into all versions of GIMP at this time, and not just the Mac version. All right, so the remaining new features found in GIMP 2.10.28 are super minor. So for example, some of the file types plugins have received updates in GIMP, including the CSource file type, which is a source code for the C and C++ programming languages, DICOM, which is for medical imaging, GIF, PS, which is a PostScript file created by Adobe and used by publishers, BMP, which is a bitmap file, DDS, which are used when you're creating textures for video games, PSDs or Photoshop documents, and TIFFs. So all these file types plugins did receive updates in GIMP 2.10.28, but most of them are so minor, I don't think many of us are going to notice. The Gimppressionist and Metadata Viewer plugins received some updates, as well as the script-foo interpreter. And there was also a new script-foo function added, which allows you to add directories from GIMP. And as per usual, Gaggle and Babel versions were updated for GIMP, and translations were added, in this case, both for the Windows installer and for GIMP as a whole. So I'll end this video with some GIMP news. So it's hard to be optimistic at this point. It's taken almost an entire year to get two very sparse versions of GIMP out, GIMP 2.10.24 and GIMP 2.10.28. GIMP 2.10.26 was skipped because of what they called a build bug. So basically they just had to skip that whole thing entirely, scrap it, and rebuild GIMP 2.10.28. But from what the GIMP contributors said in their press release, it does appear they have had some new people added on to the Windows side of things, so that should be good news moving forward, especially for GIMP 3.0. And speaking of GIMP 3.0, it appears once again that they are focusing almost all of their efforts on getting GIMP 3.0 out. I still have no idea when they plan to release GIMP 3.0. I do know that they mentioned that they are going to probably release a GIMP 2.10.x version, which in this case would be like GIMP 2.10.30 or something. And they also plan to release GIMP 2.99.8, which would be a development version before, again, releasing GIMP 3.0. The downside of this is that GIMP does typically have two release candidate versions before they release the stable release version. So basically what we're looking at right now, at the very least, is GIMP 2.99.8, GIMP release candidate 1, GIMP release candidate 2, and then GIMP 3.0. So that could mean a year and a half, 2 years still until GIMP 3.0 comes out. I honestly don't know. Maybe it comes out at the beginning of next year. Maybe it comes out at the end of 2025. Who knows? Obviously, let's hope GIMP 3.0 comes out sooner than later, but don't hold your breath. Alright, so that's it for this tutorial. Hopefully you liked it. If you did, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and click the bell icon to be notified each time I have a brand new tutorial. You can check out any of the links to my resources in the description of the video. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.